Hello and welcome everybody. It's Rose Smith here from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me for the Sensational Scorpio October horoscope. Well, there's a lot happening this month, a real lot actually. So firstly, we have a solar eclipse on the 25th of the month in Scorpio in your sign. So it's going to be very impactful upon you. And because it's in your sign, it's going to affect your identity and how you wish to appear to the world, what you present to the world, how you approach the world. And so it is fairly important. We also have Mercury, Saturn and Pluto all turning direct. Mercury turns direct on the 2nd or the 3rd, depending on which country you're in. So in Australia it's the 3rd, in the US it's the 2nd. We have Jupiter and Jupiter and Mars turning direct on the turning retrograde on the 28th and the 30th of the month as well, slowing things down in your life in some areas. So just to briefly explain what I do, I like to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you, and then we'll have a look at your horoscope in depth. If you're new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell right now. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the board. And we're going to have a look at these cards first up. That'll be the very first thing we do. Okay, so the first card is like the first half of the month, if you like. And the second card, the second half of the month. Or you can view them both together if you're not interested in the timing of it. Okay, so Scorpio for October. Okay, so what I see here is like, sort of like, not actually chains, but little metallic sort of brackets that are a bit restrictive. And so something in your life has been restrictive and it's going to let go during the month. So that just says to me it's a time of release. Okay, let's see what card comes up around that. Let's take that one underneath. It's the King of Cups. So it could be your emotions. You're releasing some of those pent-up frustrations or some emotions, and that makes sense because there is so much going on here in your 12th house and also in your sign, the first house. This is all about as you detox spiritually and emotionally. You'll see here he's wearing indigo, and this is about your intuition. So your intuition could be strengthened as you release emotions. You'll see the ocean here in the background, which is like the subconscious waters here. He's seated on a shell with a clam shell at the back, as you do. He's got both his feet on the ground because he's practical and down to earth, and he's got gold around his throat and on his crown chakra here. So that's very high vibration. The King of Cups is someone who could come into your life who's a very generous, kind soul who could actually help you out in some way. So that would be good news. If, however, you find that doesn't happen, then you need to go within and find it in yourself. The energy will be there somewhere on your DNA back in the past, but you might have to do a meditation to go back and find it. But it's worth finding because this is somebody who is a very honourable person, and there's a lot of integrity there. So he can help you express your emotions. Okay, your emotions are like fuel, and they fuel your life basically. So fairly important. Now the second half of the month, I'll close my eyes. What do I see? There's a door here on the right opening out onto a sort of terrace. It might be time to spend a little bit more time outside. Maybe, go to a park or do some gardening or something like that. But this has got a real Italianate feeling about it, or Mediterranean type feeling about it. And it just says to me that it's like lovely weather and grapes and rewards and things like that. And so it could be time to get some sun, actually. All right, the card that comes up is the Page of Pentacles. This is about your money, most probably. Sometimes it does indicate the physical body, but mostly it's about money or possessions. And you'll see that she's wearing black and white and red. The black are the hidden elements, the white are the things that she already knows about, and the red is the action that she takes. This suggests that news is coming to you, some messages are coming to you about your money. It doesn't indicate whether they're sort of positive or negative. It just says that money is important this month, okay? I'm basically an optimist though, so I always think it's good news that's coming, okay? So we're just going to put these cards here like this because sometimes they can come up in the reading a fair bit. And I'll make this bigger for you so you can see. Now, there's a lot happening here. First thing I want to talk about, I wouldn't normally include it, but I'm including it because it's starting the month off. So it's either the 30th of September if you're in Australia, or the 1st of October if you're in the UK or the States. And that is this red box here called a Grand Cross, which is actually 2 T-squares sort of base to base, so to speak. This is quite a challenging kind of influence, but because we have the moon involved here, the moon on the 1st of the month or the 30th of September, depending where you are, this travels very fast. So this is an intense time that happens only for a few hours. And so it's nothing to be worried about. At the same time, I wouldn't be going out on the 30th or the 1st of the month and doing anything that's particularly important either, because squares are challenges, struggles, things that have to be overcome. And we have the moon here in your second house of finances, and also Mars here in your house of shared resources, which can include finances. Sometimes it's intimacy, but mostly it's probably money. And we've got a money card here that's like 3 things that indicates that it's money. And then we have Neptune. It can bring fuzzy feelings around your thinking, especially to do with romance or creativity or leisure and pleasure. And then we have Mercury up here, which is also retrograde at that time. So it's retrograde until the 2nd or the 3rd of the month. Then it goes into a thing called a shadow period for probably a week. And that's Mercury in Virgo. And so, you know, this could be something that is detailed, it's complicated, and it's intense. So there could be a problem comes up. I'm not saying there will be. It could even just be a matter of, you know, you have a bad dream or something, or you just feel off. But those dates, 30th and the 1st, I think it's probably wise not to sort of book anything important into your life. Mercury is direct on the 2nd or the 3rd, so, you know, communications should become clearer. Less problems with technology, one would hope, and you know, you can generally move ahead, especially with Saturn and Pluto also turning direct this month. That indicates that, yeah, we get a big push forward. This solar eclipse in Scorpio is on the 25th here, and it's in your sign, so it's going to be particularly impactful for you. And there's going to be a fair bit happening in that house this month. So you may find your beliefs, your core beliefs, your identity, your authenticity in how you approach the world becomes more important, and you want to get as close as you possibly can to who you are. Who you are really, you know, and we're all expected to play roles and, you know, fulfill what our roles are, be a good mother, good wife, you know, be a good worker, whatever it is. And sometimes that takes us away from our own personal authenticity. So you'll be getting closer to that. And then we have Jupiter on the 28th and Mars on the 30th turning retrograde. Okay, and Mars is your co-ruler, so that could really impact upon you as well. I'll talk more about that in a moment. All right, let's have a look in depth. Venus sextiles your MC from the 30th to the 2nd. You can meet a lot of people now that benefit your career, or you get to talk with colleagues, or you get to know authority figures on a more personal, friendly basis, perhaps. Take advantage of whatever time you have to socialise with people, because the outcome is likely to be positive. But remember this square at that same time, so you might have to be very clever about how you do it, and maybe that's the time for planning and thinking but not actually doing anything. The doing can come later. The 29th to the 5th, Mars opposition the Moon, and this is problematic too because it can give you a sort of competitive streak. Maybe you feel impatient or frustrated. Mars likes to push you ahead forward, into the future. The focus is always on the future, but that can cause friction or emotional confrontation with other people, especially to do with your spouse, children, or your parents, okay? There could be some unresolved feelings and issues from the past that trigger emotional outbursts now, so do watch that one. 29th to the 4th, so the sun, at the same time, Mercury opposition Neptune. This is very difficult too in terms of thinking clearly. It's really hard to think clearly, and Mercury is retrograde. It's not the best time to sign a contract or come to an agreement. Communications can be misunderstood at this time. Your thinking might be a bit, sort of fuzzy or vague. And you're probably swayed by feelings more than logic. But on the upside, your imagination is probably very active, and it might be a good time to finish things that you started before Mercury went retrograde. So before, say, the 10th of September, if you started anything, you can probably continue with that. The 5th to the 8th, Mercury trines Pluto, giving great depth to your conversations. You might hear some secrets. People seem to tell you very personal, intimate things. Of course, you wouldn't want to reveal those secrets. It is a great time to solve a problem, find something that's been lost, work out a mystery, things like that. It's like you want to get right to the core of the issue. And from the 5th to the 8th, that's from the 5th to the 8th. And then on the 9th, we've got the Hunter's full moon, which is in Aries, which is here in your 6th house. This is all about, your work, your everyday life, your routine, your habits, and your well-being. There could be a bit of a turbulent sort of energy here going on. There could be an issue with your everyday work or habits, or you become aware of rumblings deep down in your subconscious. It will pass after a few days, but yeah, just be a little bit sort of cautious with that. It's all about transformation in this area of your life. The 10th sees Mercury going into Libra in your 12th house here, and there's lots of communication and energy about your spirituality, or perhaps coming up from your subconscious. You may identify with the underdog, or maybe you're thinking about doing something charitable at the moment. That could be on your mind. You might be more sensitive than usual, so it's a great time to take some time out for R&R. Transformational change from deep down within is likely, and you could be feeling a bit more sensitive than usual, but do watch your dreams and the little flashes you might have in the daytime. From the 10th to the 13th of October, Sun trines Saturn, which is great for detailed work or work where you have to concentrate. Anything, if you're doing an assignment, you're studying, or anything like that where you have to pay attention to details, it's probably helpful. You probably have more self-control and discipline than usual. and you may apply yourself to tasks that you may have been avoiding, like paperwork and stuff like that you really hate doing, but or maybe you like it, I don't know, but the difficult tasks you're more likely to want to do now, and you've got greater tolerance for boring, tedious things. So it's a great time to, get on with your chores. The 8th to the 18th sees Mars squaring Neptune. This can be quite confusing, and you might not feel very energetic. You might feel a bit unmotivated now. It's time to be gentle with yourself, not to push yourself too hard. It is a great time for your imagination, though, and you might have fantasies and all sorts of strange thoughts coming up. Just write them down. Normally they're things that you would never really do in the outside world, but they're sort of coming up. I had something similar myself the other day, it's just like, where is that coming from? And then, really have a look and see if you can find out the core of it, where it's coming from in your subconscious. It is a good idea to slow down a bit, otherwise headaches could result with Mars squaring Mercury, and of course, so hot communications or angry communications or frustration, things like that. So just take a deep breath and slow down. The 23rd sees Venus entering Scorpio, which is your sign here. Because it's Scorpio, it's likely to be quite emotional or intense, but it's regarding your identity and how you go out into the world, how you present yourself to the world. So you might change your appearance. Be a little careful how you do it also, because your core beliefs could undergo some change, and you may wish to express yourself, but you want to get closer to who you really are and make a statement to the world about who you are at a deep level. The 23rd also sees the Sun entering your sign, and so a lot going on here, a bit of a party happening. This brings insight and awareness around your core beliefs, stability, authenticity. So it's like you get some insights, and of course you want to be who you are, so you want to express that to the world. There's also the solar eclipse here on the 25th, and this brings a new beginning about how you present yourself to the world. Could be quite compelling feelings, and you could be feeling quite inspired. And for some of you, you might actually feel like helping other people. Maybe you want to write a book, or you want to get your message out into the world in a new way. The 28th sees Jupiter going retrograde in Pisces here in the 5th house. This brings, normally when planets go retrograde, things slow down, but with Jupiter, yes, it could be that it slows down or things go quieter with your creativity or romance, but it's more likely with Jupiter that it brings some realism to the situation. Things that you might not have been seeing before about romance, leisure and pleasure, or your creativity, now you see them in a more realistic light when Jupiter is retrograde here. You may internalise your feelings rather than expressing them in the outside world. Maybe you have some creative ideas, but you're not ready to unleash them on the world just yet. You want to think about them for a while. It might not be just the right time at the moment. The 29th sees Mercury entering your sign as well here, bringing a lot of communications and ideas about your identity as well and what you really believe. There's lots of activity. You could be talking to people about it, and just these realizations and insights you've had recently. And on the 30th, your co-ruler Mars is retrograde here in your 8th house, and it's in the 8th house all of the month. Your energy could be a little bit flat, or you feel a bit unmotivated, especially to do with intimacy or something to do with investments or joint resources that you share with another person. Normally you'd have more energy perhaps for this, but it's a great time for self-reflection and, maybe just think about things for a bit while Mars is retrograde. All right, dear Scorpio, that's it. So big focus here on your money as well, and your new beliefs and identity and how you're going to express yourself in the outside world. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this is helpful for you. If you're new, subscribe and be live and hit that notification bell right now. Have a wonderful month, everyone. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.